Hello everyone, welcome to Turkish Series Stars. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button if you enjoy these deep dives into your favorite actors' lives. Your support keeps us going. Now, let's get into what happened today, because what should have been a routine filming day for Baris Arduç and Elsen Sangu turned into something no one on set will forget. A quiet morning became a whirlwind when, right in the middle of an intense scene, Elsen suddenly lost consciousness and collapsed. Crew members froze. Scripts fell to the ground. Even the director stood speechless. In a heartbeat, joy on set turned into fear. People close to the production had noticed the signs. For days, Elsen had been pushing herself to the limit. The schedule was brutal, the scenes were emotionally draining, and nights were short if she slept at all. That day, they were outside under unforgiving heat that turned the set into a furnace. Minutes before everything went sideways, witnesses say she tried to steady herself, the kind of subtle wobble you only catch if you're paying attention. Then, without warning, her body gave in. She fainted, right there in front of the entire team. Silence swallowed the set for a breathless moment, and then Baris ran. He reached her before anyone else, nearly tripping as he lunged forward. Those nearby heard him shout, "Beni sıkma. Don't blame me." His voice cracked, raw and terrified. The words stopped people in their tracks. Why would he say that? Was it shock? Guilt? Panic? No one knew, but the emotion in his voice made the air heavier. Filming ceased instantly. The medical staff rushed to the scene, and someone called for an ambulance. While the crew formed a protective circle around her, Baris held Elsen's hand, tears running without restraint. Photos that would later leak showed him whispering to her, visibly shaken, repeating the same plea over and over as if saying it could somehow rewind the moment. That single cry from Baris sent the rumor mill spinning faster than ever. For weeks now, whispers had been circulating that there was a strange tension between the two. Nothing explosive, just a quiet unease that people close to them couldn't quite put their finger on. Assistants noticed charged silences during breaks, and a few sharp exchanges that were so hushed you would miss them if you blinked. Both actors publicly denied any problems, smiling for cameras and brushing off questions, but fans felt there was a storm building behind those smiles. A member of the team, speaking under the condition of anonymity, described the scene that led up to the collapse. The words were simple but haunting, she wasn't pretending. The tears on her face were real. A few minutes later, she went down, and Baris just unraveled. He looked like someone who'd been handed the weight of everything at once. The ambulance arrived quickly, and the set melted into the background as Elsen was taken to a nearby hospital. For a while, no one had answers, only fear. Hours later, doctors delivered a measured update. It was a severe breakdown brought on by unrelenting stress and physical exhaustion. Her body and heart needed rest. Thankfully, they found nothing more dangerous beneath the surface. Her team released a statement, calm and careful, saying she was stable, under observation, and would step back to recover. They also offered gratitude to the fans who flooded their inboxes with concern and love. Baris, meanwhile, vanished from the set. He stepped away from filming and kept his phone dark except for a single, enigmatic post that lit up the internet. He wrote, "There are days when silence cuts deeper than speech. We aren't always the ones at fault, but somehow we still pay the cost." It wasn't an admission. It wasn't an excuse. It was a window into a state of mind, and it resonated with thousands who had watched their favorite on-screen duo carry a heavy, complicated story while the world leaned in too closely. The production has yet to announce whether filming will continue on schedule or pause until both leads are ready. The crew is taking it day by day, waiting for the call that will tell them to pick up the pieces or to hold back a little longer. Online, timelines are overflowing with messages, some addressed directly to Elsen, others wrapped in quiet encouragement for Baris, who seems to be carrying the kind of worry that doesn't fade when the cameras stop. Overnight, a groundswell of support turned into a chorus, with people reminding them to breathe, to step away, to return when it feels right. Back on set after the ambulance left, nothing moved. Cameras remained covered, lights dimmed, marks on the ground undisturbed. The stillness was eerie, like the breath you take after a long cry when everything is too quiet. Several people say Baris refused to step into his car until he watched the ambulance drive off. He stood there with red eyes, hands shaking, as if the sound of the siren would be the only thing to tell him what to do next. The crew kept their distance, not out of coldness but out of respect for a man who, for once, did not know how to be strong. For months, viewers have talked about the undeniable connection between Baris and Elsen on screen. Their chemistry doesn't just pull you in, it lingers. Media outlets have hailed them as one of the most compelling pairings in Turkish drama, a duo who can make a quiet look feel like a confession and a whisper feel like thunder. It's that same closeness that fueled speculation that maybe the line between character and self had blurred. Away from the lens, though, the reality was more intricate. The scripts this season are emotionally loaded, and the schedule has been relentless. Add a constant stream of rumors, and even the strongest spirits begin to bend. People who know Elsen describe her as meticulous and deeply sensitive, a perfectionist who internalizes every note and every nuance. She gives herself completely. It's a beautiful way to work, but it's also a dangerous edge to live on. By contrast, those close to Baris call him protective, someone who carries responsibility like a shield, sometimes to his own detriment. He wants to fix things. He wants to be the calm. But when emotion runs too high for too long, even those who seem strongest can break into pieces you can't see. That's what the past few days have looked like for them. One person in a hospital bed finally allowing her body to rest, the other wandering through a maze of what-ifs and if-onlys. There are many versions of what led to that cry, Beni Sıkılma. Don't blame me, and each version says more about the storyteller than the truth. Some think he was pleading with himself, others imagine a conversation that happened off camera, something heavy that followed them into the scene. Maybe it was just the shock of seeing someone he cares about fall without warning. Maybe it was the fear of having pushed too hard, said too much, or not said enough. Whatever it was, the moment didn't feel staged. It felt human in the most terrifying way. And that's why it hit so hard. Later that night, more details trickled in. The medical team advised total rest for Elsen, no work, no stress, nothing that would pull her back into the intensity she had been living. Her representatives kept updates simple. She was sleeping, she had people around her, and she would return when her strength did. Baris remained off-grid, except for a few quiet messages to friends saying he needed time away from lights and lines. He asked the crew to take care of her scenes and not to worry about him. He'd be back when he could walk onto set without bringing the tremble in his voice with him. Still, the love from fans has been overwhelming. People shared old clips of their scenes together, the hugs, the laughter, the pauses that speak louder than dialogue. Others wrote long messages about resilience and patience, telling them to remember they are human before they are legends. The wave of support wasn't just noise, it was comfort in a world that can turn too quickly from adoration to scrutiny. This time, people seemed to understand that what happened on set wasn't a stunt or a scandal. It was a breaking point that can come for anyone who carries too much for too long. As for the series, it now stands in a delicate place. The producers are balancing timelines with compassion, budgets with hearts, and the promise they made to audiences with the promise they owe to the people who bring these stories to life. No final decision has been announced about delays or rewrites. For now, the priority is health. That's not just a slogan. It's the only path that makes sense if you want the work to mean something when the cameras roll again. There is a quieter part of this story, too, the part that won't make headlines. It's the text messages at dawn when one of them wakes and can't settle, the phone calls from colleagues who are more like family, the way a set can become a sanctuary and a storm at the same time. It's Baris carrying guilt he doesn't owe and Elsen facing a fatigue she didn't invite. It's the two of them learning, once again, that the beauty of their work can also be its danger when the heart forgets to step back. If there is a lesson in all this, it might be that devotion without rest becomes a cage, and that caring too much without pause bends even the strongest shoulders. From the start of this project, everyone has said Baris and Elsen were giving the performance of their careers. Maybe that was true. Maybe that was part of the problem. The line between the scenes and the souls playing them grew thin. The world loved the spark, and so did they, but sparks can burn when you hold them too close for too long. The hope now is simple, that Elsen rests until color returns to her cheeks and the strength in her voice is no longer borrowed, and that Baris remembers he doesn't have to carry the sky to be the person people believe he is. The two of them, together or apart, have built something that audiences cherish. That won't vanish because of a pause. If anything, it will deepen when they return with the steadiness that only comes from weathering a moment like this. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. We'll continue to follow updates with care and respect, and we'll share them with you when there is something real to say. Until then, let's give them space to heal. This is Turkish Series Stars, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.